Oh my gosh, I've never thought about that. God, I never even, that is so simple. I guess, like, I would,
Welcome back in to David O'Gray, off code, unscripted. Hey, we got to talk about the porn industry and why it is important that we really push for this industry to be banned. We understand the harmful effects it has on consumers. That's obvious. It destroys people, it ruins marriages, it causes addiction, just leads to one sin to the other. It leads to hell. But what about the people who work in the industry? What about them? We don't think about them, right? We just think they're evil, they're bad. But the porn industry is the most dangerous industry in the world, just for its employees. Porn stars have the most dangerous job in the world. As a porn star, you're going to die either by attempts at self deletion, um, drug overdose, HIV, or someone's going to try to kill you, murder. That's it. Those are the four options as a porn star. You die by attempts of self deletion, drug overdose, HIV, or someone tries to kill you. That's it. No other industry in the world does such a high number, such a high percentage of employees die from those four things consistently than a porn industry. And we sit around just again, we just these people are bad. They're causing evil. No, these people are broken, and they're in a broken industry. And people sit there, they consume this stuff, they pay for these subscriptions without recognizing, without realizing two things. First is that you're being complicit in someone's death. By paying for that subscription, by consuming the content, you're being complicit in their death, in their murder, in their drug overdose, in their attempts at self-deletion. The second thing that you're probably not thinking about when you're consuming this stuff, you're sitting there with you doing some self-friction, is that the person that you're watching on the screen is probably already dead from self-deletion, drug overdose, HIV, or someone's murdered them. That's the person you're watching is probably dead. And you should be ashamed of yourself for doing that. And there's memorials all over the internet that, there's no reason for us to be ignorant about this stuff. You just look around and you see the evidence of what's happened and the people who worked in this industry and how they died. And we wonder how people got there in the first place. Right? These are already broken people, even before they got into the industry. They're already broken. That's what led them there. And when someone presented them the contract to get into industries for whatever reason, because they're broken, it sounded like an opportunity for happiness. And as human beings, we're all in search for happiness because that's what God created us for. But what happens when you're already broken? Or you have a broken thing. You ever have a broken thing and you just throw it into the meat grinder? What happens? Well, it becomes more broken. Or what happens when you're already dead? You're already spiritually dead. The thing is already dead. And then you just throw it into, you just push it into a knife. Well, it becomes more dead, right? And that's what happens when broken people get into the porn industry. They get around more broken people. And one thing we know about broken people is that broken people break people. So to get into the porn industry around broken people, there's just no healing there in the porn industry. So they become more broken. Or what happens when they're already spiritually dead and they get into the porn industry, which is satanic, which is demonic, which is it's an industry of death in every way possible. What happens when they get in there? Will they become more spiritually dead? They become closer to Satan. And because they become more spiritually dead, sometimes it escalates into their own physical death. That's the best way out for them. That's how they feel. Yeah, we can say somewhere along the line that maybe as Christians we missed the mark, or maybe they missed the mark. Somewhere along the line, we didn't encounter these people and we didn't tell them the truth. We didn't listen to their story, hear about why they're broken. And we didn't have the opportunity to say, hey, I hear what you're saying. That's a dark place. But you know what? Jesus loves you. Jesus is there for you. And there's healing in Jesus' name. And we didn't spend time with them, accompanying them through that journey to Christ. Or perhaps we did. And perhaps for whatever reason in their brokenness, they just rejected it. That happens too. But that's all this industry is. That's all the porn industry is. It's just death for its consumers and for those who are being hired. Not only just the porn stars, but the people all around the industry, the camera people, everyone who works in it. It's an industry of death who harms people and it leads to their death. But you don't have to believe me. You don't have to look at the real here of all the people whose lives are death is a testament of what that industry brings. And some of you probably watching this, probably you recognize some of these people. Yeah, they're dead. As you're sitting there doing your little self-friction. But listen to some of the stories of these people who have been involved in this industry.
My first shoot was down in Santa Monica, and from right away, I called my manager to tell them I was uncomfortable. And instead of the supportive producer and the supportive manager that I had experienced when I was signing my contract, I got told that I was being difficult and that if I was going to continue to make money in this industry, that I was going to have to learn how to behave. I had zero say-so. Oftentimes I didn't even know that I was going to a shoot. One night that I was picked up and I refused. I refused to go, and his reaction to that was to take my phone, to take my shoes, and drop me off in this area of Southern California that was just agricultural. And so there I was in the middle of the night with like workout shorts and a sports bra, no shoes, no phone, no money, no purse, just really left by myself.
That's crazy to hear that the people that you watch on the screen, some of them aren't even there by 100% choice, not completely of their free will and accord. Rather, they're being pimped out and bullied. Yeah, definitely they put themselves in that situation. But we don't know what's going on in these people's lives. So, again, this industry is just a dark, broken industry that has no right to exist.
The first time I did a film, it was pretty scary. Like, again, like I thought that I was just gonna like be handed a camera and like go like have sex with this girl, and I walk into this giant studio and there's camera A, camera B, camera C, and there's someone shooting BTS and there's a sound guy, and there's all this stuff going on, and it's just all these lights are around this like little bed, and there's this girl sitting on it, and they're like, hey, we'll need you in 15 minutes. Here's a Viagra if you need it. I went to the bathroom. They told me to take half the Viagra. I took the whole thing. And I started to feel like really red and flushed. And then I remember like walking out onto the set, and I don't really remember what happened after that. I just remember like saying cut, and it was over. Probably 4 years into my time in the business, I was just like, I hate this. I hate this so much. And every day it just got worse and worse. And I was ashamed of who I was. I left porn because I was suicidal.
There was a lot of drugs, and I found myself addicted to cocaine, alcohol, See, for me, I had to go to work to do the porn so that I could buy the drugs to bury the pain of doing the porn. So I'd go to work and do the porn so that I could buy the drugs to bury the pain. And around it went.
Towards the end of my time in porn was one of my most viewed scenes. I actually came in as more of a stand-in because they had an original guy doing my part for that scene, but that scene was so rough that it incited an epileptic seizure within him that he had to be rushed to the hospital. So I came in to take his spot, and at first I didn't know what I was getting into, but I signed the consent forms, I signed all the stuff, saying it was okay because I needed to get paid. And then on the porn set, I was bound, gagged, and raped. I was in a rape scene. And after that scene, I went home and I tried to kill myself. Everyone who watches that scene, they don't know the backstory behind it. They don't know that I did that afterwards. They don't know what was really happening to me on the inside. And they don't even know what, brought me there in the first place. And so that's why, people watch porn and they just assume, that we're there in front of the camera because we want to be there, or we're having fun or whatever. And maybe it's also because we're telling them that, but they don't know the truth of what's really going on, why we're there, and what's going on inside of us.
Again, the drugs, the brokenness, the doing things to people against their will, putting them in situations that they really didn't sign up for. The porn industry is demonic. It's evil. It's dark. It destroys people on both sides, consumer and the people who are involved with producing the content.
People treat me as if I am a pedophile. They don't treat me like an ex-sex worker. They treat me like I would somehow be damaging to children.
A simple question, how would you like to be treated?
Oh my gosh, I've never thought about that. God, that is so simple. I guess, I would, I wish that people would treat me how they would treat a married registered nurse with 2.5 kids in Indiana. That's how I wish people would treat me.
So she wants to be invisible. That's pretty deep. I mean, I hope she really thinks about that. What's going on? I mean, I guess that makes sense from having been in that industry, been very visible, and people recognizes her everywhere she goes, knows her by her name. All she wants now is just be invisible. A married woman who's a registered nurse in Indiana with 2.5 kids. There's nothing more visible than that. So, wow.
How would that change your life if they treated you that way?
I would be so happy. I don't know. I never even thought about that before. But it'll never happen. That's probably why I don't think about it. I learned that there are some things that no matter how open-minded you are, other people will never be, and that you shouldn't do. And I send a very strong message to young girls: don't do porn, because as much I understand it, you want to embrace your sexuality, you want to say screw the man, screw whatever, like I can do what I want with my body, but you're just gonna have a life of crap in front of you and dealing with people and companies, and there's companies are allowed to turn you down for work because of anything they want, and they have morality clauses. You can never work.
In a just society, this type of thing just cannot exist. I mean, we think we're smart. We think we've evolved. We have technology. But the fact that this goes on, and we haven't even talked about just the sex slave trade, the darker version of this. And even some of the people that you may be watching on your screen while you're doing your self friction, some of those are just sex slaves. But if we lived in a truly just society, we sit around talking about, oh, we should make America great again, all this crap. Or what the other side says, oh, we have to rebuild better, rebuild back, and all these mantras that they come up with. But the fact that nobody's talking about banning this, getting this out of society. Yeah, we should protect the borders. We should make sure people have a living wage. We should make sure society is safe. People shouldn't just be able to walk into grocery stores and walk out with things that they didn't pay for and nothing happens to them. There should be accountability. People shouldn't be getting their car stolen. But what about this? What about this evil that's just causing so much death, so much harm, so much evil? What about this? One of the most profitable industries in the entire world. Why can't somebody stand up to this? Why can't somebody ban this? Yeah, you have states such as Texas and other countries want to put these pop-ups before you go to these sites saying, oh, are you older than 18? All right, who's not going to lie? What type of deterrent is that? It's just shocking to me that more Christians aren't taking a hard line on this. How come we aren't demanding our politicians do something about this? We act like we can't do more than one thing at a time. Yeah, let's stop child sacrifice. Yeah, let's stop that. But what about this? But one of the things that we can do, I guess, immediately, all right, because change starts within us, right? So if you're a person that's a consumer or a person that supports this industry in any way, just stop. It's evil. Don't get to your judgment day with this on you. But also talk about this amongst your family, amongst your friends, about why this is evil. We have to do our own part first. And then hopefully one day, the entire world will just come to just a higher moral standing. Right now, our morals and values are pretty low in the world right now. A lot of things that are normal, that we think are normal, just flat out evil. And we just wink our eye at them. If it doesn't affect us, it doesn't affect us. That's type of attitude. Like we're some, we're some bad people. We really are. We don't want to admit it, but we're not good people. But we have to start doing the work and bringing our moral standards a lot higher than they are right now.